Welcome to the fast-paced world of badminton. The Canadian Badminton Association's Skill Awards program is designed to introduce beginners to the game. The program consists of this video plus a manual to be used in conjunction with the video, an instructional poster, instructional brochures, and participation certificates. This new Olympic sport offers an opportunity for a lifetime of enjoyment while providing an excellent means of developing physical fitness. Studies have shown that badminton contributes to a person's cardiovascular fitness and lower body strength. An average-size individual will burn upwards of 645 calories per hour during a vigorous game of badminton. Many schools are recognizing these benefits and have introduced it in their curriculum. In addition to the fitness, social, and educational benefits, badminton provides the challenge of competition to all who wish to develop their skills to an elite level. The beginner of today may be the star of tomorrow. Before beginning the detailed instructional portion of this video, we review some effective practice methods which will make your sessions more valuable. The quality of the practice sessions depends on how proficient you, the instructor, or your students are at feeding. Spending time with your students at the beginning will save valuable time later. When hand feeding, the feeder holds a number of birds on his arm. Taking one bird at a time, he feeds with an underhand toss. Or, holding the bird by the base, he throws it like a dart. When feeding using the racket, the feeder holds 4 or 5 birds on her arm and uses an underhand stroke to project the bird high. A continuous rally may also be used. If so, it is important that the feeder be able to feed accurately and consistently.
Right foot comes back as the racket's coming back and all the weight goes to the back. Left arm goes up and racket points forward.
Shadow swinging is used to help the students learn the desired movements without having to be concerned with making contact with the bird. This allows your students to concentrate on proper technique.
Opposite hand. Line up the bird with your non-racket hand. That's it.
The strokes are presented using the whole part whole method. This presents the whole stroke, breaks it down into component parts such as the feet and upper body, and then shows the whole stroke again. We encourage you to use this method when explaining the stroke, because it allows students to gain an understanding of the different components of each stroke and enables them to practice each one separately. After each stroke, we have outlined and suggested various drills. The drills are shown briefly to show you how they are organized. We also suggest various modified games throughout the video. These games develop specific skills and movements, incorporating skills taught in the lesson. Use these games to add fun to each session.
Check your grip, Chad.
Also, use your imagination to build upon and create additional modified games.
You too, Chris. Watch your grip. Corner.
Other back corner.
Court movement can be practiced by developing drills that move the players to the 4 corners and to the sides of the court. Although we do not show any footwork drills in the video, we have used various footwork drills in the manual for warm-up and fitness. Footwork drills specific to badminton, combined with shadow swinging, make excellent warm-up and fitness drills. Skills and drills. The ready position. For the ready position, the student stands with his or her feet shoulder width apart. The racket is held in front of the body, and the non-racket arm is used for balance. The body is upright, with the weight on the balls of the feet. The grip. The grip is an important basic skill which the student must learn before learning the technical strokes. The grip shown here is from a left-handed individual. The description is the same as it would be for a right-handed individual. With the racket in front of the body, it is held between the knuckles of the thumb and the index finger to form a V, which points toward the other side of the body. A small space is left between the first and second fingers. 4 common errors are the thumb going up on the handle, the index finger going up on the handle, the grip being too firm, forming a U instead of a V, and the V not pointing toward the opposite side of the body. The following drills will help your students develop racket awareness. The carrying the shuttle drill is performed across the width of 2 courts. Divide the class into teams consisting of 5 to 6 members each. Line them up one behind the other and establish a turnaround point. The first player of each team starts the drill by carrying the bird on the racket while running to the turnaround point and back. If the bird is dropped, the student picks it up, places it back onto the racket, and continues. Ensure the students use the correct grip at all times. The relays can be played with the forehand, the palm facing up, or with the backhand, the back of the hand facing up. The grip is the same for both drills. The bird bounce drill will assist in the development of eye-hand coordination while using the proper grip. The racket should be held well in front of the body, and the bounces should alternate between the forehand and the backhand. At the start, the bounce is high. However, with practice, the height is reduced to 1 to 2 feet. This bird bounce relay is set up the same as the carrying the shuttle relay, except that now the players bounce the bird on the racket. Each player must bounce the bird a minimum of 3 times in each direction. If the bird is dropped, it is picked up and the relay continues from that point. The net shot. The net shots are the first strokes taught in the badminton unit. They are used to place the bird low over the net. The net shots allow for development of eye-hand coordination, and the students will be more successful when the unit begins with this stroke rather than with the more difficult strokes, such as the overhead. Backhand net shot. From the ready position, the racket is held in front of the body. The player lunges toward the net with the racket leg leading, and with the back of the hand facing the ceiling. The back leg is stretched, but remains on the floor. As the arm becomes 3/4 extended, the racket face is angled slightly forward. At the point of contact, the arm points toward the net with the racket parallel to the floor and aligned with the net. Forehand net shot. The forehand net shot is similar to the backhand net shot. From the ready position, the racket is held in front of the body. The player reaches toward the net with the racket leg leading and with the palm of the hand facing the ceiling. The back leg is stretched, but remains on the floor. As the arm becomes 3/4 extended, the racket face is angled slightly forward. At the point of contact, the forearm is pointing diagonally toward the net, with the racket parallel to the floor and aligned with the net. Extending the arm to contact the shuttle provides sufficient motion to direct the shuttle low over the net. Two common errors to correct are allowing the bird to drop too low, caused by not extending the arm toward the net. The following drills are used for practicing the backhand and forehand net shots. Players are divided into even groups, with each member taking a turn as the feeder. To begin, the players start in a ready position and take one step diagonally forward to play the stroke. After some practice, the player should then play the drill from the tee. This develops movement from the ready position at center court. The instructor should watch for proper body positioning, encouraging players to contact the bird at the highest possible point. Ensure the back leg is stretched, the upper body is straight, and the racket foot is leading. Another method of practicing net shots is by working in pairs. Students take turns at feeding by tossing the bird over the net to their partner. This drill allows everyone to stay active. Here we have shown an example of a modified game. In groups of two, the challenge is to determine which group can keep a rally going the longest. Short serve. Backhand. The player stands upright facing the net with the racket leg slightly forward. The bird is held by the nylon between the thumb and forefinger at waist height in front of the body. The racket head is against the body at waist height, and the elbow of the racket arm is at chest height. Push the racket forward slowly using the forearm. The follow-through is short and in the direction of the bird flight. Two common errors on the backhand serve are body leaning too far forward and the racket too far out in front, and the server having her wrong foot forward, the non-racket foot. Forehand short serve. The second short serve is the forehand short serve. It is used extensively in both singles and doubles. To prepare for the forehand short serve, the player stands upright, approximately one racket length behind the front line. The body is turned sideways and the feet are shoulder width apart. The front foot points straight ahead and the back foot points toward the net post. The bird is held by the base and is dropped in front of the non-racket foot. The bird is gently pushed over the net with the racket. The follow-through is short and in the direction of the bird flight. Contact must be made below the waist, with the racket head clearly below the hand holding the racket. Two common errors for forehand serves are bending over while serving and not standing in the proper court position to serve. To teach your students proper court positioning while serving, have them come onto the court and place the racket down on the court as shown. The following drills can be used for practicing both forehand and backhand serves. These drills allow for maximum utilization of the court. Spread the players across the court, 4 to each side, and have them serve across to a partner. Or set up a target on the court and have the students serve in or on the targets. A good drill to practice serving low over the net can be organized by having the instructor hold a racket 12 inches above the net or by stretching a string above the net.
Okay, the head of the racket has to be below your waist. Okay?
In this next drill, the students practice both the serve and return of service. This starts to orient the players to a game situation. The server uses one of the two short serves, while the receiver returns the bird using either a forehand net shot or a backhand net shot. This modified game, quarter court badminton, is a continuation of the previous drill. The game begins with both players standing behind the service lines, with the serve being one of the two short serves. The serve must cross the opponent's service line, but thereafter the rallies are limited to net shots in the court area in front of the service line and within the boundaries of the imaginary center line and the outside line. Points are only awarded to the serving side. Backhand and forehand underhand clear. The underhand clear is used to move the bird from the front of your court to the back of your opponent's court. Backhand underhand clear. The player steps forward from the ready position with the racket leg leading. The racket shoulder and elbow point to the net, and the forearm is parallel to the floor. The backswing is short, and the racket comes forward to meet the bird as high as possible. Contact is made with the bird in front of the racket foot. The follow-through is in the direction of the bird flight. Forehand underhand clear. The forehand underhand clear is similar to the backhand underhand clear. The player steps forward from a ready position, leading with the racket leg. Using a limited backswing, the player swings forward to meet the bird as high as possible. Contact is made with the bird in front of the racket foot. The follow-through is in the direction of the bird flight. The common errors to avoid are contact made with the bird too close to the body, the wrong foot forward, contact too low because of a large backswing. The drills for the backhand and the forehand clears begin with a group formation of 5 to 6 players. Each player takes a turn as the feeder. Begin the drill with the students taking one step diagonally forward. As players become more proficient, start them from the center of the court and have them take a large lunge to play the shot. This drill can also be played in small groups of 3. One acts as the feeder, one plays the stroke, the other retrieves the bird. A number of modified games are appropriate at this level. However, only underhand strokes can be used.
Good.
In this game called Around the World, the coach or one of the students does the feeding. The feeder hits the bird to the player. The player hits an underhand clear and then runs around the feeder and back to the end of the line. If a student misplays a shot, they are eliminated. A variation of the game is played without a feeder but with 2 groups, one on each side of the net. The 2 groups play against each other. The program has now covered the basic underhand strokes. The next shot, the overhead, is the most difficult shot of this program. It requires the player to move the racket head very quickly and at the same time demands accurate timing. This is difficult for most students, and many bad habits will develop in their attempts to play the stroke correctly. The game of badminton centers around the basic overhead stroke. Basic overhead stroke. The stroke is introduced by using shadow swinging.
Don't forget, make
The
sure
students will develop the proper feel for the overhead stroke by going through the motions without being concerned about making contact. We join the instructor as he takes his class through the overhead stroke.
As you draw the racket back, make sure that your right foot is behind with all the weight on it, and the racket's pointing at the bird. Point the racket at the bird. Lift your arm. Get your arm up, Pat. Okay, now as your weight comes forward, as the weight comes forward, you turn your shoulders, the racket's thrown back, and you swing forward. Okay, try it a little faster.
Let's now look at the stroke in more detail. From the ready position, the racket is drawn back, level with the player's head. The body turns sideways, with the front foot pointing toward the net and the non-racket arm raised for balance. As the upper body rotates to face the oncoming bird, the racket goes over the head while the non-racket arm is lowered. The weight is transferred forward and ends up on the racket leg during the follow-through. On this rear view, notice how the racket comes behind the back and then goes forward in a continuous motion. From the front, you can see that the racket head is coming through with the edge of the prior to contact, so that the palm is facing forward at the time of contact. The player is now ready to hit the bird. Contact is made high above the player's head. This stroke is refined into the drop shot and the overhead clear, following the next section on common errors. You will notice some of your players making the following errors on the overhead. Watching for and correcting these errors is essential. A panhandle grip is a common error for beginner players. Refer back to the section on the grip for correction. The bird is often contacted without body rotation. This leads to the wrong follow-through to the racket side of the body. It also limits the force the body is able to generate. Some students will rotate the forearm the wrong way, and as a result, the back of the hand is facing forward at the time of contact. Many students will not extend the arm. This results in a low contact point. Often, students will contact the bird behind their heads, resulting in a backward transfer of weight. Or, will hit the bird off to one side, which is caused by poor body positioning. If your students are playing the overhead stroke correctly, they are now ready to refine the basic overhead stroke into the overhead drop and the overhead clear. The overhead drop is a deceptive shot, which looks like an overhead clear until the point of contact. The shuttle is hit to land over, but very close to the net. The overhead drop uses the basic overhead movement. The variation begins at the point of contact. The wrist and the forearm action is slowed down just prior to contact. Contact is made in front of the racket shoulder. The follow-through goes toward the opposite side of the body. Overhead clear. The overhead clear also follows the basic overhead stroke movement. The clear is hit from the back court to land in the back court on the other side of the net. Again, using the basic overhead stroke, the wrist and forearm rotation is much quicker, creating a whip effect. Notice how the forearm pronates to rotate the racket head so that it is perpendicular with the bird at the point of contact. Contact is made directly above the racket shoulder. The follow-through goes to the opposite side of the body. Both the clear and the drop are practiced using a similar drill formation. Working in groups, one person feeds using the underhand clear. Here, the drop is being practiced. Notice how close the shot comes to the net.
Sandra. Okay. George. Reach up for it.
We now move to the clear. Notice how forcefully the bird is contacted.
Easy, Brent. Good shot. Good. 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 Just relax. Relax. That's good.
Players can also work on these drills one-on-one with the feeder using an underhand clear. At this level, many combinations of strokes can be developed into drills, such as the underhand clear and overhead drop, the underhand clear, overhead drop, net shot, net shot. In addition, you can create others using various combinations. This modified game, Game of Lives, is a variation of the Around the World game shown earlier when the students were allowed to use only underhand strokes. Now the overhead strokes are allowed, and the game becomes more challenging. Each player, after playing the stroke, goes under the net to the end of the line on the opposite side. Players are eliminated when they misplay a shot. The game becomes more exciting as players get eliminated and only 3 to 4 players remain. When only 2 players remain, the rotation stops, and the players play on opposite sides of the court until someone wins. A modified game of badminton, half-court singles, is now introduced. The doubles court is divided into 2 courts by the center line. Games are played on each court. The rules of badminton apply, except players serve straight ahead, not cross-court. Play is initiated by the short serve. Emphasis is on singles play as opposed to doubles play, because singles allows for more skill practice. Games can be played to 15 or for a preset time period. Half-court singles allows for longer rallies and practice of forward and backward court movement. It forces the players to vary the placement of the bird from the back court to forecourt using all of the strokes learned. High serve. The high serve allows the player more variety while serving. It is used mainly in singles play to force players deep into the back of the court. The student stands facing the sidelines, 1 racket length behind the front line. The feet are shoulder width apart, with the front foot pointing forward and the back foot pointing toward the post. The racket points backward, while the non-racket hand holds the bird by the base at chest height. The bird is released in front of the non-racket foot. The student swings the racket forward, transferring weight to the front leg as the upper body rotates to face the net. Contact is made with the bird well in front of the body with a strong upward motion. The racket follows through up over the non-racket shoulder. The common errors to avoid are bending over while serving, not allowing for weight transfer, standing too far back in the court on the serve. This drill can use up to 12 people per court. The players at the front service line serve to the players at the back of the opposite court. The players at the back then serve to the players at the front service line. The distance the bird travels is the same for each group. Using half of the court, as in half-court badminton, 2 players are on each team. This game is called half-court doubles. 1 player plays the front, 1 player plays the back. The rules of badminton are used with modification for the half-court game. Either a high serve or a short serve can be used. Teach students not to turn around during doubles play to look at their partner making shots, because they could receive possible facial and eye injuries. Drives. Backhand drive. From the ready position simultaneously, step toward the sideline with the racket foot and draw the racket back, keeping the elbow at shoulder height. Using the forearm and wrist, the racket whips through quickly. Follow through with the racket to the front of the body and rotate the hips to get back into the ready position. Forehand drive. From the ready position, the player simultaneously steps toward the sidelines with the racket foot and draws the racket back, keeping the elbow and arm high. The student whips the racket head through quickly, using the forearm and wrist. Contact with the shuttle is made at shoulder height. Allow the shoulder and hip to rotate the body back into the ready position. The common errors to correct are hitting the bird too low, hitting the bird too close to the body, the drills for the drive can be performed in large groups as in the other drills, or in smaller groups of 3. The instructor or feeder should make sure that the students move to the sidelines quickly to contact the shot high. The bird should travel straight down the sidelines to land at mid-court. The feeder should feed the shots with an overhead throwing action and duck under the net after each throw. The retriever returns the bird to the feeder. The game is half-court singles, played with teams. A team consists of 2 to 3 players. Players rotate into the game after a team member loses a rally or has won 3 consecutive rallies. The winning team always serves. Points are scored on the service only. A set time or a preset score ends the game. The serve return ready position is the second ready position being taught. The first ready position is used during mid-rally, while this ready position is used when receiving service. The student stands approximately 3 feet behind the front service line with his non-racket foot forward and his weight on the front foot. The racket is held at head height, slightly in front of the body, with the edge of the racket pointed toward the server. The player is balanced and ready to move forward or backward. Drills for the serve return should incorporate both the high and short serve. Here we show the player moving from a serve return ready position to a mid-rally ready position. We conclude the instructional portion of this video with 3 modified games and the basic strategy for singles. The game of High-Lie is played with a number of players, each accumulating their own points. Two players play while the others stay in line. A new player rotates in after each rally, taking the place of the loser. The loser of the rally goes to the end of the line, and the winner of the rally serves. Points are only scored on the service. King's Court is a game in which the players play timed half-court singles. One court is designated as the King's Court. Here it is the far court. The winners move toward that court, while the losers move in the other direction. The winner on the King's Court stays in the King's Court and is challenged by the winner one court below.
All right, change. Winners move up, losers move down.
If the score is tied at the end of the time period, a winner is determined by spinning a racket. This game can be played with half-court singles, full-court singles, or full-court doubles. Triples is played with 3 to a court using the doubles court. The players rotate clockwise each time the service is regained by a team. The service is regained or retained if the side wins the rally. The player at the front serves from the proper service court, while either the front player or the back player plays the serve. Basic singles strategy. Good singles is based on consistent and accurate placement of the bird, and the ability to maneuver the opponent out of position or off balance by hitting the shuttle into the 4 corners of the court. The first corners to attack are the back corners, using an overhead clear. Reply to a high serve using an overhead clear or an overhead drop. Both players attempt to move each other about the court to force an error. All the strokes taught in this unit should be utilized. Most serves for singles should be hit high to the opponent's court at the junction of the center and back lines. When receiving for singles, the player stands in the opposite court about 3 feet behind the front service line. We do not encourage young novice players to play doubles until all the basic skills are well developed. Half-court singles, or full court if space permits, is much more conducive to skill development at this level. This concludes the Skills Award Program video. We hope it has given you a greater understanding of the basic techniques of the sport of badminton, that your students will enjoy the program, and perhaps continue to enjoy badminton as a lifetime sport. The bird is now in your court.